नमः। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मोक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Friday's Yoga Vashistha Satsang. With divine grace, divine blessings, our Guru's blessings, we continue this journey together every Friday, and on Sundays we do Bhagavad Gita. Fridays we continue the divine scripture Yoga Vashistha. Our humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, to our worshipful Guruji, Swami JyotirmayAnanda Ji Maharaj, to all the sages and saints, our holy scriptures, and to the divinity in each one of you. हमारा दंडवत प्रणाम है उस ब्रह्मांडीय ईश्वरीय शक्ति को, हमारे पूज्य गुरुदेव स्वामी ज्योतिर्मयानंद जी महाराज को, सब साधु संतों को, ऋषियों मुनियों को, इन पवित्र शास्त्रों को, और आप सब में विद्यमान परमेश्वर को नमन। भगवान की कृपा सब पर बनी रहे। मे यू ऑल बी फिजिकली हेल्दी, फिट, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, in all aspects of your life. May God's grace come to each one of you. भगवान की करुणामयी कृपा आप सब पर बरसे, हर तरीके से सुखी रहिए। And may all the people who are in pain or hurting or in some discomfort, may they find release of pain through this satsanga. When all of us send healing vibrations, जब हम सब लोग करुणामयी तरंगें भेजेंगे तो सबको सुख पहुँचेगा, सबकी को शांति मिलेगी और आनंद प्राप्त होगा। Satsang is also known as one of the gatekeepers to the palace of liberation. मुक्ति के द्वारपाल का एक मार्ग सत्संग है। It is a highly potent way to make spiritual progress in Kali Yuga. इस कलि युग में सत्संग के माध्यम से अपना कल्याण करने का बहुत उत्तम मार्ग है सत्संग, सत का संग। When we join together in satsang, association of the wise, listen to the holy wisdom of sages and saints, we benefit tremendously. Many life's karmas are negated, burnt up as if. So with that prayer, that thought, let us read our Guruji's message for today. Each message is deeply profound and helps us to purify our life. Swamiji says, blessed self adorations, Divyatman pranam, seek good association, satsang ko khojiye, learn the art of meditation, prayer and repetition of mantra or the name of God. ध्यान करना सीखिए, भक्ति करना सीखिए और मंत्र जाप को सीख लीजिए। भगवान का नाम एक सहारा। Do your duties well, and having done your duty, keep the mind free of worry. जो भी काम दिया जाता है उसको दक्षता के साथ कीजिए, एकदम बढ़िया तरीके से कीजिए, और काम करने के बाद फिर चिंता नहीं कीजिए कि ठीक हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, कैसे हुआ। Once you are done, you are done. Do your best job, but then after that, don't keep going back, thinking, introspecting. It's done. Keep your presence of mind, but then be free of any worry, because you have done your best. A swan swims in the lake, but having completed the swimming process, flutters its wings and throws off every particle of water. कितना सुंदर बात है, हंस उड़ता है और पानी में भी आनंद लेता है। जब पानी में आनंद लेता है तो खूब अपने पंख गीले करता है, लेकिन जैसे ही उड़ता है एक एक बूंद को छोड़ जाता है नीचे। Not even one drop of water sticks to the swan. We should learn to do our activities like that. Do our best action possible, but then be detached, not attached at all to anything. That has to be the focus, the way for us to be successful. Spirituality doesn't mean we don't do our worldly things well. Everything has to be done well, because God resides in every particle, in every act, in every action, in every person who is interacting with you. So much in the same way, you must learn how to enter into the world, do your duties, throw off your worries, and then scale the inward height through meditation, devotion and wisdom. कितना सुंदर ज्ञान है कि क्या करिए, जैसे हंस अपना जल में आनंद लेकर उड़ता है और सब जल का एक एक बूंद छोड़ के चला जाता है, ऐसे ही आप जो भी कीजिए संसार में ऐसा ही कीजिए। अपना कार्य दक्षता से कीजिए, शुद्धता से कीजिए, भक्ति से कीजिए। लेकिन कार्य हो गया फिर चिंता को त्याग दीजिए और फिर अंदर चले जाइए, चिंतन कीजिए। गो विद इन, गो डीप, मेडिटेट। एवरी सेकेंड इज प्रेशियस। These days we have Kali Yuga. Out of the 4 yugas, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Sat Yuga, Kali Yuga, we are in Kali Yuga, which is from an ethical standpoint, it is one of the worst yugas. Which means if you have spirituality, then you can make rapid progress. क्योंकि बाकी सब तो संसार में ही भाग रहे हैं, संसार में ही घूम रहे हैं, सत्संग की तरफ ध्यान ही नहीं। ये शरीर एक दिन नहीं रहेगा, ये ध्यान ही नहीं। दिस बॉडी इज ट्रांजिएंट, नो थॉट ऑफ दैट। वन डे वी विल डिपार्ट, नो थॉट ऑफ दैट। नो क्रेडिट्स आर अर्नड by most worldly people because rajas and tamas are so strong. The pull of Maya is so strong, and people don't even live very long these days. That is the tragedy. They think when I retire I'll do it. Oh, who knows how much life we have. So many people die on the job only, so never think I will do it tomorrow. कुछ भी भक्ति, सत्संग, ध्यान कभी भी कल पर नहीं छोड़ो. डू इट नाउ, डू इट टुडे, गेट इन्वॉल्व्ड. And karma yoga, bhakti yoga, dhyana yoga, jnana yoga, 4 of these things: action, reason, emotion and will. That is how God has made our body. We have to do these things in a joyful way. Then spirituality becomes divinity, fun, joy, ecstasy. You don't have to be in pain, you don't have to wrestle with it. It should be spontaneous. But first you have to go through that phase, disciplinary phase, जिसमें बोलते हैं अनुशासन करना ही पड़ेगा. शुरू में अनुशासन की आवश्यकता रहती है किसी भी चीज में, चाहे आप अपना संसार का पढ़ाई करें या भगवान की प्राप्ति का मार्ग खोजें, सब में आपको मेहनत करना पड़ेगा. सुबह जल्दी उठना पड़ेगा, ब्रह्म मुहूर्त में. यू हैव टू वेक अप अर्ली, यू हैव टू डू योर ड्यूटीज, एंड देन slowly it will start to click. Then you will be in bliss. So this is the teaching from Guruji today. May God bless you. Thine Swami JyotirmayAnanda. तो भगवान आप सबका कल्याण करे, ये गुरुजी का आज का संदेश है. इसको ध्यान रखिए और अपने जीवन में भी उतारने का प्रयत्न कीजिए. केवल पढ़ना ही नहीं काफ़ी, सत्संग सुनना ही नहीं काफ़ी, उसको अपने जीवन में भी थोड़ा थोड़ा प्रयत्न करके लाएंगे तो बहुत तीव्र कल्याण होगा। तो चलिए, लेट अस सिंग अवर कीर्तन। एक छोटा सा कीर्तन करते हैं, इसके बाद योग वशिष्ठ का ध्यान करेंगे। लेट अस डू आवर कीर्तन, आफ्टर विच वी विल enjoy the scripture. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां, श्री गणेश श्री गणेश रक्ष मां। शरवण भव शरवण भव पाहि मां, कार्तिकेय 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 रक्ष मां। जय सरस्वती पाहि मां, श्री सरस्वती श्री सरस्वती रक्ष मां। जय गुरु शिव गुरु हरि गुरु राम, जगत गुरु परम गुरु सत गुरु श्याम। ओम आदि गुरु अद्वैत गुरु आनंद गुरु ओम, चिद गुरु चिद घन गुरु चिन्मय गुरु ओम। जगत गुरु ओम गुरु सच्चिदानंदा, शंकराचार्य शिवानंद ज्योतिर्मयानंदा। ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय। शिव 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 शिवाय नमः। ओम हर 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 नमः शिवाय। ओम नमो नारायणाय ओम नमो नारायणाय ओम नमो नारायणाय ओम नमो नारायणाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते रामचंद्राय। आंजनेय 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 पाहि मां, हनुमन्ता 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 रक्ष मां। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। ओम शक्ति ओम शक्ति पाहि मां, ब्रह्मा शक्ति विष्णु शक्ति शिव शक्ति रक्ष मां। आदि शक्ति महाशक्ति पराशक्ति पाहि मां, इच्छा शक्ति क्रिया शक्ति ज्ञान शक्ति रक्ष मां। गंगा रानी पाहि मां, भागीरथी रक्ष मां। हरि ओम हरि 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 ओम हरि ओम हरि हरि ओम। ओम शांति ओम शांति ओम शांति 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 ओम। So continuing our journey, we are currently studying this profound scripture योग वशिष्ठा together. योग वशिष्ठ जो एक बहुत ही गूढ़ ग्रंथ है वो हम अध्ययन कर रहे हैं। Today we will be studying section 171, the negation of the world process. We are on Nirvana Prakarana, which means the way to get self-realization, since this is the concluding facets, concluding stages of this scripture. Last week we had studied the liberated sage sports with his friends and his friends' divine quality, divine family. We had talked about the sage's wife being compassion and friend being serenity and so on. So idea is to build your sattva so much that you constantly stay in sattva only. Rajas and tamas no doubt will be needed, but very limited, only for what is needed for our comfortable well-being. That's it. Beyond that, our time belongs to the creator, because we are sadhaks, sadhakas, meaning हमारा कार्य क्या है, भगवान से जुड़ना. We want to unite with God, and if we don't want to come back again in this world, then we have to earn that self realization. Doesn't happen automatically, meaning हमको प्रयास करना पड़ेगा, मेहनत करना पड़ेगा. So Sage Vashistha continued to give his teachings to Lord Rama, just like Lord Krishna gives the teachings to Arjuna, or just like Ashtavakra gives the teachings to King Janaka, and just like our Guru gives teachings to us. This is a Guru Shishya relationship. So, not just Vashishth versus Rama, all Gurus and all their disciples. This is the deeper meaning. You take these scriptures and you have the same faith like Rama is sitting at the feet of Vashishth Muni. So Vashishth Muni is saying the self continues to be, because these teachings are universal. They don't change from Guru to Guru. If a different Guru comes, he's not going to tell you something totally different. There is only one divinity, one God, one way of reaching Him, one enlightenment, one process. Different ways they teach only. Somebody is more serious, someone may laugh a lot, someone may be very strict, that way. But the intent is always to help the disciple and to cross this ocean of world process. So whether Vashishth gives this teaching to Rama or Lord Krishna gives it to Arjuna, understand it is for humanity, all of humanity. Doesn't matter whether you are a Hindu, a Christian, a Muslim. What difference does all those things make? Those are how you relate your body and rituals, and you were born. But ultimately enlightenment is the same thing. The universal energy, and our death, we don't die any differently. Is it? We are born the same way. So this is how we get trapped in Maya. Maya has this beautiful way of trapping the best of us, and the ego is like a drunk monkey that further agitates our already crazy body, mind, sense, intellect phenomenon. तो हम इस भ्रम में खुद को फंसा लेते हैं और फिर बाहर नहीं निकल पाते. So here Vashishth Muni is continuing. He says the self is unaffected. No change to yourself. Who is affected then? You are. Who is you? Your body, isn't it? Your body, or your mind, or your thoughts, or your intellect, or your ego. That is all you are. You are just these things. But the self within you is totally unaffected. आपके अंदर के आत्मा पर कुछ भी प्रभाव नहीं पड़ता, वो वैसे का वैसा ही रहता है. And what does, and apparently it appears as if it's moving from waking to dream and dream to deep sleep. But what is actually happening? You are doing that in your daily life. You are awake, then you dream, then you go to deep sleep, then you are awake again, and you have been continuing with this cycle for whatever your age is, since you were born, isn't it? जब से आप पैदा हुए हो और अब तक यही चक्र तो चल रहा है. जागृत, स्वप्न, सुषुप्ति. तुरिया तक तो कोई पहुंचता ही नहीं. Very few people actually get to touch and experience Turiya. So most people are in these three stages: waking, dream, and deep sleep. So just like this is continuing day after day, year after year, decade after decade, till we depart, in the same manner, the self is the same during creation, dissolution, and after the dissolution of the world also. Science tells you, just like stars explode, many world systems come and go, many planets come and go, much in the same way, the self is not affected, but change around it is always going on. जो परिवर्तन है वो हमेशा चलता रहेगा, लेकिन आत्मा वैसे का वैसा ही रहता है, चाहे वो प्रलय हो, चाहे वो सृष्टि हो, चाहे वो दिन हो या रात हो आपके ही जीवन में. So just as air assumes different forms, isn't it? Air, जिसको हम वायु बोलते हैं, वायु अलग अलग रूप लेती है. कभी तो बवंडर आ जाता है, थंडरस्टॉर्म, समटाइम्स देयर आर थंडरस्टॉर्म्स. कभी मस्त ठंडी ठंडी हल्की हल्की हवा चलती है. समटाइम्स बाय द ओशन साइड व्हेन यू आर वॉकिंग, द you enjoy the cool light breeze that is so intoxicating and beautiful. And sometimes the winds are very rough, hurricanes, thunderstorms. And ऐसे ही in the same way, the self, आपकी आत्मा, the self within you, assumes different forms without losing its immutable nature. Just like that, Atma or your consciousness also goes through all these apparent turbulations, but it does not lose its essence. Essence being what? It is unborn, unmanifested, unending, indivisible. All these are the attributes of the Atma. तो ये सब आत्मा के गुण हैं, और ये गुण बदलते नहीं हैं. They don't change. The differences are perceived by ignorance alone. तो हमको ऐसे क्यों प्रतीति मात्र होता है? Why do we feel that it's different? It's because of our ignorance. Ignorance is what is keeping us glued to the world process. When ignorance ends, we attain enlightenment. जब ये अंत हो जाता है अविद्या का, तो हम मुक्ति पा लेते हैं, साक्षात्कार हो जाता है. But that is the journey. Otherwise, most people, that's why very few people are on this path sincerely. सिंसियरली जो श्रद्धा से इस मार्ग पर लगे हुए हैं, बहुत ही कम लोग हैं इस धरती पे जो तन मन और धन से अपना कल्याण कर रहे हैं और चाहते भी हैं. See, just like you see ice, ice is solid water. When it freezes, it becomes ice. It is like tamas. If you do nothing to that ice outside on room temperature, what will happen? It will melt. When it will melt, the water will run here and there. Right now it's a solid block. Then it will run, because that's water's nature. And then if you boil that water, or if there's a lot of heat, the water evaporates. So when it evaporates, you don't see any water. No agitation, no chanchalta, but the water is just become moisture. Much in the same way, the Atma also changes. Apparently, it changes forms, but the essence is the same. Right? So when a self is known, the three worlds cease to exist. What does that mean? When you know, जब आप ये जान लेते हैं कि मेरी आत्मा मेरे अंदर क्या है, ये क्या चीज है जिसके पीछे हम ध्यान ही नहीं देते. We are always running around in the world only. My family, my kids, my grandkids, this, that, उसमें ही हम अधिकांशतः समय लगाते हैं. मेडिटेशन करते नहीं, भूल जाते हैं, ध्यान नहीं लगता है. तो फिर ये जब हम इस तरफ मार्ग पर चलते हैं और गूढ़ तरीके से, when we go deeper into these things, then we can see the light of the self, and that is the tapasya, that is the penance, that is our effort, our journey towards spirituality, that we have to do daily, consistently, every day. We cannot do it today and then 1 week later and 2 months later. ऐसे नहीं चलता है. You have to do it every day, just like you brush every day, you eat every day, you sleep every day. All your activities are repetitions. So much in the same way, when we do that, we start to transcend that state. What are the 3 states? कौन सी 3? अभी बताया. Waking, dream, deep sleep. जागृत, स्वप्न, सुषुप्ति. तो उससे भी परे होकर हम चले जाते हैं चौथी स्थिति में. In the same way, this tangible world disappears from the view of the light of intuitional wisdom. Just like when you wake up from your dream, in your dream, you were in a dream world. There was something, there were colors, there were images, there were forms, but they were astral forms in your dream. They weren't real, isn't it? But they appeared real. The snake appeared real, the mountain appeared real, the good dream appeared real, or the bad dream, nightmare, whatever you have. And as soon as you woke up, there is no more confusion in your mind, no more fear, no more snake to worry about of your dream. Gone. Much in the same way, when these enlightened masters wake up, they have woken up from this world process, and everybody else is still dreaming. So when they wake up, they know the snake doesn't exist. All the things they were seeing were basically just illusory. ये प्रतीति मात्र था, वास्तविक नहीं था. Much in the same way, this is how we have to think of the Atman also. Between any two perceptions that arise in the mind is the absolute or Brahman. तो आत्मा के बीच जो प्रतिबिंबित होता रहता है, what is that image that keeps showing up between the Atma? Different thought waves, isn't it? One thought, then another thought, then another thought. Think of a cinema, movie cinema, and the projections on the screen. When the TV is off, what do you see? Nothing, just the blank screen, isn't it? That is your Atma. But what happens when you turn on your remote? You start switching channels, you start seeing images, you start seeing things, and it becomes multiplicity. Now there is no end to that. Do you like science? Do you like music? Do you like horror movies? Do you like good movies? Keep on going, keep on agitating yourself, no end. And then when you switch it off, what happens? Again back to the screen. And in between the images, what do you see? The screen. But we don't normally see the screen because the focus is always on our emotions, the pictures. जो जो कुछ भी हम देखते हैं, उसी की प्रतीति मात्र हमको होती रहती है और उसी का हम ध्यान करते रहते हैं. लेकिन वास्तव में आत्मा तो स्थिर है. It is the only thing that is real. उसके ऊपर ये चित्र पर चित्र आ रहे हैं और वो ये चल रहा है, नियम से चल रहा है. So it is the light of the absolute self which is creating all this. So therefore one must seek the underlying basis of the thought waves. इसलिए हमें क्या करना चाहिए? What should we do? We should not get so focused on just names and forms. Just like you don't give any value to your dream after you wake up, when you are dreaming, it's out of your control. Much in the same way, when you live in this world, you walk, you transact business, you do things, just look at it with the same vision as if this is a dream, and you know it's a dream. Whereas when you are dreaming, you don't know you are dreaming. When do you know? Only when you wake up. So now that we have that intellect and wisdom, अब जब हमारे पास ये बुद्धि भी है और विवेक भी है, हम ये कार्य कर सकते हैं. We can do that, and we can go deeper and deeper in identifying who is this I, who am I. That is the journey. The knowers of scriptures consider objects, thoughts, feelings, all these things that have names and forms to be like waves in the ocean. Think about that for a minute. Waves in the ocean, how many? Countless. They will never end. Much in the same way, names and forms are also countless. They will never end. Trishna na jirna vayameva jirna. Trishna never ends, our body only ends. So much in the same way, but the wise, the sadhakas, serious spiritual aspirants, gurus, spiritual people, they understand this depth because they have studied the scriptures. Just like we are going deep into these scriptures and we are studying these scriptures. So we should understand the authentic authority of divinity and the sages and saints who have experienced it through their realization. अपने अनुभव से उन्होंने ये ज्ञान हमको दिया है. It's up to us whether we take it or not, right? We have choices in life. But if we are sincere, then we should use our common sense and say, just like our dream, we don't give it any value when you wake up. Much in the same way, these enlightened people don't give value to objects, meaning which objects? Physical objects. Then even the senses and thoughts, the senses will want this, want that, but it's like putting butter on fire. जैसे आग में आप घी डालते चले जाओ और सोचो कि अग्नि बुझ जाएगी, वो संभव नहीं है. It is not possible to extinguish the fire when you are adding flammable butter into the fire. You have to let it be or put water. That's what we supposed to do. Also thoughts and feelings. What are these thoughts and feelings? You hurt me, you were mean to me, or you were very loving. Romantic feelings, angry feelings, jealousy, hatred. What is this? This is all a play of your mind and senses and ego and intellect, isn't it? But how real it becomes in your life. The only time we can enjoy it is when we are in satsang. It makes sense. You also nod your head. Yes, I agree. The minute satsang is over, what happens? Back to the same old. I am me. This is my life. This is my friend. This is my that person I don't like. This person I like. We totally forget. We are immediately pulled back into rajas and tamas, isn't it so? That is why we have to be constantly trying to stay in sattva with scriptures, bhajans, kirtans, selfless service, volunteer work, and practically whatever is needed in life. Bhoga, mukti, everything comes. So, as long as you are totally out of this training period, initially it's very hard. Like when you're learning to drive, driving is hard. Now driving is easy, the same thing. So, but when you were learning, you were very cautious. Now you are confident, you can do things, eat, talk, walk, everything, and drive also. You can do everything. So much in the same way, while we are on this path, we have to be very careful, because all it takes is one gust of wind to knock us off our pedestal. So that is why sages and saints say, keep yourself in good company, satsang, have good friends and people, like-minded people, because then your life will be more simplified. It is indeed regrettable then, Vashishth Muni is now feeling very sorry for the world. Why is he feeling sorry? Because they are compassionate. It's like no mother wants her child to get burnt, isn't it? But if the child puts the hand in the fire, what will happen? Mother cannot be there all the time. So if he puts it in fire, now his hand is burnt, and depending on how deeply it's burnt, it could be from very devastating to just a good experience. In any case, he will learn his lesson. So here Vashishth Muni is saying, it is indeed regrettable that the world does not exist. We just talked about it. ये संसार मिथ्या है, ब्रह्म है, स्वप्न है. अब चाहे तुम इसको मानो या नहीं मानो, समझो या नहीं समझो, वो आपके ऊपर है. तो this is what the sage is saying, that most people, this world clearly does not exist. Vashishth Muni has no doubt about it. Lord Rama has no doubt about it. The enlightened sages have no doubt about it. But most humans do. They will argue that, don't you see my house? Don't you see my car? Don't you let me show you my this, that, my cars? So all the things, because they can touch and feel through the senses, they think it's real. But that's what here Vashishth Muni is saying. It is regrettable, because in reality the world does not exist, and yet it is believed to be existing, isn't it? We think it's real. So many people think, oh, one life, enjoy, who knows, or what reincarnation, who knows. So they just are in that mode, that I am this body. And Brahman, who alone exists, Brahman, this divinity, ये आपकी आत्मा का आत्म शक्ति, this consciousness, this soul, without it there is nothing else, and you also know it. If you stop, if the Atma decides it's time for us to go, it's just like the car runs out of gas, nothing will work. Everything will come to a standstill, even though the engine is there and everything is, all the parts are there. Much in the same way, when as soon as the Atma decides it's time to depart, the eyes will stop working, the hands cannot move forward, the breath, the smell, the taste, the touch, all the senses, pranas, everything is gone. So Brahman, who alone exists, is interpreted as non-existent due to the delusion of the mind. See, this is what it is. So it's like salmon. Have you heard salmon? Against the current, against the current. So this is why this path is not for the faint of heart. Be prepared for hard work. Be prepared to be a misfit in the world. Because if you will try to do both things, it will not work very well. So what happens is, your journey to God, your journey to Godhead, and to know your Atma is much more important, because that is the reality. जब आप सपना ही देख रहे हैं, तो फिर you cannot, no matter how, if you are awake, can you know what that other person is dreaming? What you are dreaming, you even forget after a few days. Some dreams only have a deep impression and you will remember. So many dreams are, they come and go, your own dreams. So much in the same way, Vashishth Muni says, it is so sad that this knowledge can save people, it can help them get enlightenment, and they see this trailer every night in their own experience. They go through the dream, they wake up, yet they don't want to face, confront reality. That is the thing. So, where can I turn to other than Brahman, which is my essential nature? Meaning that when the sage is saying it, he is saying it's a dream, and therefore everything is your consciousness. Who's making your dream? How does a dream come into being? Have you ever thought of that? Closed eyes, you hear sounds, you see things in a dark room. That's a trailer for you to tell you it's you only. You are Brahmaji. Your consciousness is Brahma. It has created and it is sustaining the dream till it breaks, isn't it? When it breaks, then you go into deep sleep because the mind cannot do anything anymore. And actually, it's in deep sleep only that your mind gets rest. Otherwise, the mind is still working, the senses are still agitated in your dream, although apparently you are sleeping. Somebody says you slept for 7 hours. What, how much good quality sleep did you really get? Because your mind didn't get enough rest. Only in deep sleep it gets rest. जब आप गूढ़ निद्रा में चले जाते हैं, then the mind is very close to the self, and then you wake up refreshed through deep sleep. So, but this is what is happening to most of the people. How can I perceive that which is non-existent? So somebody says, look at this in your, look at my dream tree. How will you know what that dream tree is? Which one is it? What it looks like? Such is the experience of the wise. Much in the same way, the wise go after the real essence of human life. They don't waste time in frivolous activities that waste their time. In the meanwhile, life continues to move on, isn't it? जीवन तो चलता जाता है, जीवन अंत होता चला जाता है. So therefore, that self is the light of all lights. That self, अर्थात वो आत्मा जो है वो सब प्रकाश का प्रकाश है. It is the light that gives sun its radiance, moon its luster. So without that light, nothing can work. So all these objects of the world are sparks proceeding from the self. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. आपकी आत्मा से ही सब कुछ संभव है. It is your atma, your consciousness through which all things are becoming possible. So all these objects are coming from the self only. That is important to know, and into self they all dissolve. Although this world is painful, there is death, there is disease, there is pain, there is joy, happiness, all those things apparently are there. But in your dream also you experience all those emotions. You will see things, you experience things, you go through them just like this world. So the self is creating so many images, isn't it? In your dream and also in your living world. That self is the indivisible, infinite, eternal, pure consciousness. तो ये आत्मा जिसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं, इसके विभाजन नहीं हो सकता, खंड नहीं हो सकते, ये अक्षय है और ये इसका असीमित है, इसकी कोई सीमा नहीं है, और ये शुद्ध भी है, एकदम शुद्ध है, और इसके अंदर जो सच्चित आनंद है वहाँ उसका वास रहता है. एग्जिस्टेंस, नॉलेज, ब्लिस, एब्सोल्यूट, सच्चित आनंद, उसका आनंद रहता है. It is this very self that appears in the form of the world process due to ignorance. So what is the, who is the culprit? What is the root cause of the problem? Avidya. Avidya is called lack of knowledge, ignorance. Ignorance, that means we may be doctors, we may be PhDs, we may be earning a lot of money, we may be having millions of followers, but if we don't know this subtle art of the self, then we have wasted our life all like a glass hour sand. It's stuff that's coming in our hands and immediately going out, and in the end we will have nothing to show for it, nothing, unless we use our wisdom and understand the the play of Maya and how the Atma works. So due to ignorance, because of this ignorance, or we say the illusion of Maya, we are all trapped, so to speak. Dream is made up of the same stuff as deep sleep. जैसे आपकी गूढ़ निद्रा है, ऐसे ही स्वप्न है. द वेकिंग स्टेट इज सिमिलर टू योर ड्रीम स्टेट. वी जस्ट टॉक्ड अबाउट इट. अभी हमने इस बारे में चर्चा किया कि आपकी स्वप्न अवस्था और जागृत अवस्था एक जैसी ही प्रतीत होती हैं. एंड तुरिया is the fourth state of transcendental consciousness. Turiya meaning beyond waking, beyond dream, beyond deep sleep. What does that look like? What is that? That is the journey that's called the fourth state or transcendental consciousness. उस अनुभव में हम ये जागृत स्वप्न सुषुप्ति को पार कर लेते हैं. We are beyond the three states. So that is the reality behind the drifting illusions of waking, dream and deep sleep. So just like yourself, think of it this way. Just like yourself is watching everything that is happening, isn't it? You know you are awake, you know you dream, you know you have a deep sleep, and then you wake up. So who is the one who is aware of the waking, aware of the dream, aware of the deep sleep? So that is the Atma or consciousness who is ever aware. So basically, think of waking, dream, and deep sleep as projections of Turiya. Beyond that, Turiya is the one, Turiya, transcendental consciousness, that is creating this whole spinning web of I'm awake, I'm dreaming, I'm deep sleeping, and you continue that. So if you, just like your projections on a screen, जैसे अभी हमने बताया, जब आप सिनेमा देखते हैं तो चित्र के पीछे पर्दा है, there is only the screen, nothing else. But if you are caught in projections, then you are also crying tears of sadness or happiness or joy or scared when you see a horror movie. What's so scary? They are only acting and it's only all a show. In the end, you can always turn it off. The remote is in your hand, but we are always wanting something to know where we are. But the projection that is giving you that experience of waking, dream and deep sleep, that is Turiya, transcendental reality. So a sage is ever established in the self. So these sages, saints, they are always in the self. Most worldly people are where? Senses, ego, intellect, possessions, things. So they are always in the waking, dream, and deep sleep state mostly. But a sage, a spiritual aspirant, somebody who is seeking enlightenment, for them the self is the most important thing to hold. So, devoid of the distractions of mind caused by ignorance, he enjoys supreme bliss. That is why it is so hard to explain what self enlightenment looks like. What is the experience? Nobody has been able to express that through these limited, puny little senses we call eyes, mouth, nose, taste, touch, and smell. All these are so limited that even um, our own perceptions will change, our own numbers change. If we don't have the right glasses, we can't even read very well. So therefore things will constantly vary, fluctuate, but the self within is always the same. Ek hi atma hai. And so the sages are always looking at that joyful state. They are not stuck in the muck of the dream. They have woken up, they are awake. What does the dream mean anymore? Devoid of the distractions of mind, he enjoys supreme bliss while talking, walking, sleeping, waking, performing various actions in his daily life. So, doesn't matter what actions he does, they'll do everything. Just because somebody is enlightened doesn't mean now that they will evaporate all of a sudden, or some blast will happen, some big announcement will come, here is Mr. So and so is now enlightened. Doesn't world works like that? Big bang balloon burst doesn't work like that for sages and saints. It's just that the joy and the experience within is so profound, so deep, that it's called sahaj samadhi. No matter what they do, they, and externally they can be poor or rich, it doesn't matter. Yogarato va bhogarato va sangarato va sangavihinaha yasya ramani brahmate chittam nandati nandati nandatyeva, which means that person who has attained enlightenment, he is beyond gravity, beyond this world. There is nothing he needs to do anymore if he doesn't want to. So either he can revel in luxury or he can remain a pauper. It's up to him. Either he stays in Manhattan or he stays in Rishikesh, India. It's up to him, doesn't matter, because he has achieved that ultimate object, and to him everything is the same. So now, whether externally there may be problems, it's like having a dream fire. It's a dream fire, not a real fire. You understand? So the body may be in pain, but it's the dream, and now he knows it's a dream. The problem with most people is they don't know it's a dream, they think it's real. Why did this happen to me? Why did this do? Why did, and it's all an illusion. See, so that is what sages and saints do in their daily life, whatever they do, and they do a lot of action. Shankaracharya ji, all his life, he said, if you had to, Shankaracharya ji has written more spirit. He's the one who saved Sanatana Dharma in the 5th century BC, although his date of birth is disputed. Some say it's 8th AD, but it doesn't matter. What he did was so phenomenal, and yet he, if you had to summarize his teachings, which are vaster than the ocean. Literally, at the age of 32, he passed away, and he did so much jnana yagya, and he revived Hinduism, basically Sanatana Dharma, and created the sannyasi tradition. But then he always said Advait. What we are reading now, same thing, was his core message also. That, because that is the only essential message that takes us back in a very logical way. We can ask questions, we can analyze it, we can interpret it, whereas most other thoughts don't fit this criteria. They cannot give us this. So anyway, he basically said Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Meaning what? That this Brahman, or that cosmic consciousness, whether we call it God or we call it your own Atma or consciousness, he says that is the truth. Satyam, only truth. Jagana Mithya, what we are reading right now, that the world is illusory, it's an illusion. That's his entire teaching summed up. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Jiva means the ray of the sun is not different than the sun. The wave of the ocean is not different than the ocean. The clouds are not different than the sky. And then we as individual Atmans are not different than God. We are made of the same fiber, same essence. You test one grain of rice to see if it's cooked. You might as well have checked everything, because if that is cooked, so is the whole pot, isn't it? So that is what he did. He said Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, and yet he knew it's mithya, meaning it doesn't exist. But that doesn't mean that now he becomes lazy. He went up and down 4 times. He crossed India by foot, walked east and west, north and south, created all this spiritual. It's hard to come up back in then, 1000, even 1200 to 2000, 2500 years ago. Can you imagine the facilities you have today versus what were then? Nothing. So even then he did so much effort, knowing that the world is mithya, it's an illusion. So we don't stop leading our practical life just because we have attained enlightenment. On the other hand, you do more to guide people, to help people, because these sages and saints are full of compassion. पूरे करुणा से भरे रहते हैं साधु संत, नहीं चाहते कि तुम माया जाल में फंस जाओ, फिर जन्म फिर मृत्यु, फिर जन्म फिर मृत्यु, कोई अंत नहीं आएगा. Life and death, पुनरपि जननम पुनरपि मरणम पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम. That's what he said. He says, if you want to come out of this mesh of life and death, then get busy. Busy doing what? Sharing your knowledge with others and also saving yourself. If you don't know how to swim, can you help anybody else? No, you can't even help yourself. How will you help somebody else? But so first learn to swim, then learn to be helpful to others. So first get good at your own knowledge, approach, then share it with everybody. That is the essence that these sages and saints tell us. So the biggest thing you can do for yourself is attain enlightenment in this very life. Cross that barrier. It is very much possible for serious aspirants who only want God, who are not faking it, who are real, who are sincere, and who start, they are now getting dispassion from the world. They have vairagya, and that is what Lord Rama has when Yoga Vashistha starts. He is only 15, mind you. Think about it. And here is all our life has gone, and yet we are still intoxicated by all the glitter and glory of the world, which is nothing but a snake with poison fangs ready to bite us at any time. So, living in this world of duality, he abides in non duality. See that? Very important. You, Advait is called one unitary measure, one God, one principle, one focus. So, yet you have to deal with duality in the real world. You have to talk to your teachers, your kids, your husband, wife. Everything is duality only. Even though you are saying it's the same, I see my Atman in everybody, but practically you have to maintain the realities. You have to stop at red lights. When you drive, you have to make sure you have enough gas. You cannot think of Brahman only, isn't it? Everything is Brahman, but you have to follow the rules also. So he abides in non duality, meaning internally it's an internal journey. Externally, people may not know what this person's state is. He may look just like anybody else walking on the street, but internally he is a walking God, a walking Devata, Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. See that these sentences, 4 of them from the Upanishads, are very confusing to a raw aspirant, somebody who is not knowledgeable. Yet he hears this Aham Brahmasmi, I am God, and now he behaves like he's God. but he has had no experience. So what will it do? Inflate his ego, isn't it? He'll become a total nuisance to the world. On top of that, he's claiming to be God. So aham brahmasmi, only that person is entitled to say that who has connected with God, who has attained self realization. The ocean, the drop river merging into the ocean, then that's right, that state is fine. But otherwise, in ignorance, we say all these things. We want to scratch our intellectual itch. I want this, I want that, I have this question, I have that question, I like this teacher, I like that teacher. You can keep on running. In the end, there is nothing new. I'm sorry to say, it's the old, same old wine in different bottles. That's it. How it's perceived, how it looks may be different, but the essence is always the same. And a good teacher will always be not worried about hurting your ego. He wants to make sure you learn, you grow, and you uh, do what you came to do. What is the goal? So, a sage is free from desires. Think about it. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, whether you read Bhagavad Gita or you read this, or so many other religions also talk about it, be free from, because there is no end to desires. Desires are basically endless. उसका अंत कभी नहीं आता है इच्छाओं का. तो इच्छाओं का सीलिंग आप ही को लगाना पड़ेगा. We just talked about it, like putting butter on fire and expecting the fire to extinguish is a sign of foolishness, isn't it? That's foolishness. Yet we continue to do that with our senses. I like this, I want a little more, I want a little more. What do you think will happen with it? Desires will continue to grow. So, therefore, maintain. Sages don't have desires. That doesn't mean they don't eat. That doesn't mean they don't wear clothes or they don't sleep. They do. But for them, everything becomes like a natural process. They are not agitated. They don't salivate like most people do. Oh, I like this, I want that, I want that, I wish I had that, here's my bucket list. It will, your bucket list will never end. Your bucket only will topple over. That's all. That's what will happen, as it should. Nobody has come here to live perpetually, isn't it? And you have had many births. I can't even, you can't even count, I can't even count, and there is no mathematical equation to tell you how many. And frankly, it's not even important. बॉटम लाइन क्या है कि आप इस धरती पर आ गए हो और अब आप जीवित हो. मनुष्य योनि मिल चुकी है, कल्याण हो सकता है, लेकिन जागृति आपको लानी होगी, मेहनत आपको करनी होगी. और ये सिद्धांत है कि गुरु आकर आपका कल्याण करेंगे यदि आप शुद्ध हैं तो. इट्स द डिवाइन लॉ that if you are a serious aspirant, the right resources and a proper teacher has to come. It's divinely ordained. Where else will it go? But if you are totally sincere on the path, so therefore viveka vairagya, discrimination has to come and dispassion has to come. Vivek, what? Should I go to the party or should I attend the satsang? Choice, choice, choice. Ah, no, maybe I should do this today. So then just know that it's okay if you make the choice of going to the party today, but at some point those desires have to end, because it's like waves. Do you want to go deep in the ocean or do you want to be on the surface level of the waves? Up to you. Who's there to say don't do this, do that? You are the master, you are the architect of your destiny. But then also you have to bear the consequences of your actions. Then it's too late to say that, oh, I didn't mean that. You meant it. You knew, you know, we know, right? So therefore, but sages are beyond desires. Desiring anything other than the self is the mark of ignorance. Ignorance. Again, back to the same old ignorance. which means you may be very smart, very nice, very kind, you may be even doing charity and good things in life, but if you, then you will get good rewards also, right? Because you're a good human being. But the life and death will not end, it will continue perpetually. वो चक्र चलता रहेगा, क्योंकि आपने उसका अंत ही नहीं किया, आत्मा का ज्ञान ही नहीं लिया। मुक्ति कैसे पाया जाता है, हाउ टू गेन लिबरेशन, we didn't focus, we didn't learn, so therefore we will get another opportunity. But suppose you misused it, so many people misuse this body and they started doing wrong things or unethical things, then the opportunity may slip and they may get a demotion. Just like in schools also, they say, oh, you are not reading at that grade, you need to go one level below. Much in the same way, human embodiment is also treated the same way, and we may get, if all we liked was lustful activities and food and this that, we may become a pig in the next life, or some other animal who can do all these things unrestrained. And then, because that's what we were suitable to do, and therefore once we have paid, scratch that itch, we'll come back. The soul is hospitalized, so to speak. समझ गए? तो आत्मा का ये जो है ऊपर नीचे ये चलना कोई मजाक नहीं है, वास्तविक है, सत्य है, होता है. So therefore be cautious, be careful, and stick to the teachings of the divine scriptures and to the teachings of these holy masters and our gurus, if we are blessed enough to have some in our lives. Otherwise, continue to increase your sadhana, and then a guru has to come, a teacher, spiritual preceptor, whatever works for you, but your journey has to be on this path. So with this we conclude this section, and we will start section number 172 next Friday. It is called the negation of memory, smriti. Smriti, even the memory has to be eventually negated, and we will see what Yoga Vashistha, Sage Vasistha teaches us about that. Hari Om Tat Sat. So let us do our arti together, and we will conclude our satsang, and then we will see you on Sunday from the Shiva Vishnu temple. So please be patient with us. We are trying to get the internet issues and all that stuff squared away, and we hope that it will go without any problem. Bhagwan ka kripa aap sab par bana rahe. May you all be blessed abundantly and continue to enjoy the satsang. We are a small satsang family, but very deep and beautiful souls all of you are. भगवान आप सबका मंगल करे, भला करे. God bless you all. Om Tat Sat. So let's do Aarti and then we will conclude the satsang. Om Jai Jai Aarati Vigna Vinayak Shri Ganesha. Jai Jai Aarati Subramanya Kartikeya. Jai Jai Aarati Venugopala Venulola Papa Vidura Navnita Chora. Jai Jai Aarati Venkataramana Sankat Harana Sitarama Radhe Shama. Jai Jai Aarati Gauri Manohar Bhavani Shankar Samba Sada Shiva Uma Maheshwar. Jai Jai Aarati Rajarajeshwari Tripura Sundari Mahakali Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahashakti. Jai Jai Aarati Anjaneya Hanumanta. Jai Jai Aarati Dattatreya Trimurti Avtara. Jai Jai Aarati सद्गुरुनाथा सद्गुरुनाथा शिवानंदा सद्गुरुनाथा ज्योतिर्मयानंदा सद्गुरुनाथा साईं बाबा जय जय आरती विघ्न विनायक न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम नेमा विद्युतो भाति कुतोऽयम् अग्निः तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति ओम शांति 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 ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् ओम सर्वेषां स्वस्ति भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम करचरणकृतं वा कायजं कर्मजं वा श्रवणनयनजं वा मानसं वा पराधं विहितं वा सर्वमेतत्क्षमस्व जय जय करुणाब्धे श्री महादेव शंभो जय जय करुणाब्धे श्री महादेव शंभो जय जय करुणाब्धे श्री महादेव शंभो समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम ब्रह्मर्पणं ब्रह्महवि ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्मकर्म समाधिनः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राण अपान समायुक्ता पचामन्यं चतुर्विधं हरिः ओम तत्सत ब्रह्मर्पणमस्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम शान्तिः 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 हरि ओम तत्सत divine blessings to all of you shakti bhakti mukti we will see you on Sunday morning between 10:30 and 11 and let's hope the recordings go well and you all have a good Bhagavad Gita lesson. We are on a beautiful chapter 8. We are doing Akshar Brahma Yoga. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.